If you've decided to apply a pesticide, use the year-round IPM programs to learn more about the environmental considerations of doing so. Pesticides can kill non-target organisms such as beneficial insects and mites important for biological control. Pesticides can move off-site into air, soil, and water to harm other living things. Use the tools linked to the year-round IPM programs to choose the pesticide or application method that poses the least harm to the environment. We'll show you tools that help you determine the best choice if water runoff is a concern, or what you should know about pesticides that emit volatile organic compounds. Let's explore how year-round IPM programs foster environmental stewardship by looking at the Pistachio Year-Round IPM program. A valuable feature in tree crop year-round IPM programs are the pages, "Why is this crop stage important in an IPM program?" because they summarize the pests and environmental aspects of managing them at that stage or time. This page both cautions that runoff can be a problem this time of year because of rainfall and advises that pesticide applications are best now because beneficial insects are less likely to be harmed. Many year-round IPM programs have a special issues of concern statement which alerts us to possible environmental risks during a crop stage or time of year. In pistachio, dormancy is the time when runoff and drift are potential problems. What's listed differs for each crop growth stage or time of year because each has unique weather, pests, and cultural and pest management actions most likely to be done during this period. For instance, during fruit development, volatile organic compounds are an additional concern. Use special issues cautionary statements to plan ahead and prevent these problems. You can safeguard against these issues by reading the pesticide application checklist. Either scroll to the bottom of the year-round IPM program or click on Mitigate Pesticide Usage to minimize air and water contamination. The pesticide application checklist reminds you to make informed pesticide choices and the safest applications. It provides you with links to risk assessment tools and publications on mitigating pesticide hazards. For less crop-specific, but most up-to-date information on mitigating pesticide hazards, go to ipm.ucdavis.edu/mitigation. Topics range from pesticide toxicity ratings to fish, humans, predators, parasites, and pollinators, water management practices to reduce off-site movement, and practices to minimize air quality problems. Let's look at some of these tools now. For instance, impact to natural enemies and pollinators links to a table that lists how toxic a pesticide or miticide is to parasites, predators, and pollinators using a designation of H high, M moderate, or L low. Let's say you need to treat for navel orangeworm, and the top two pesticides in the treatment table of the pest management guidelines are methoxyfenozide and bifenthrin. Which will you choose if you're concerned about conserving parasites of navel orangeworm? The relative toxicity table shows that methoxyfenozide poses low toxicity to parasites and bifenthrin is highly toxic to them. Applying pesticides correctly is also important to preventing non-target harm and keeping people safe. Clicking on Pesticide Application Equipment and Calibration leads to an online course on how to calibrate various types of equipment and apply the correct amount of pesticide to a treatment area. If you're in a field or orchard where off-site movement may occur, use WaterTox. WaterTox contains information derived from a pesticide screening tool developed by the USDA Natural Resource Conservation Service, best known as WinPST. It lets you evaluate the risk of harm to humans and fish from leaching, which is when pesticides move in water through soil, and runoff, when pesticides move in surface water or are stuck to soil that moves in water. So for example, here in the navel orangeworm treatment table of the Pistachio Pest Management Guidelines, you access WaterTox by clicking the Compare Treatments button. To learn more about WaterTox, click the link about this database. Customize WaterTox based on your soil type, site conditions, and application conditions, all the things that affect how pesticides move in the environment. The results table then compares the potential hazards posed by all the pesticides listed in the treatment table so you can choose the effective yet least harmful pesticide. Blue bars mean no mitigation measures are needed. Red means that it leaches easily or moves in runoff. The bigger the bar, the more risk of harm it poses. When using intermediate and high-risk pesticides, consider measures to mitigate harm. Learn how by using the pesticide application checklist at the end of every year-round IPM program or clicking Mitigation Measures May Be Needed. Volatile organic compounds or VOCs impair air quality. Click the Air Quality button found next to the Water Quality button in the treatment table to learn about VOCs and how to minimize emissions. If you plan to apply an emulsifiable concentrate formulation or a fumigant, use these Department of Pesticide Regulation calculators to see how much VOCs will be released. Now let's take a brief quiz on how environmental concerns are addressed by year-round IPM programs. Year-round IPM programs guide you through a plan of activities over the course of a year, using IPM to prevent, monitor, make decisions, and manage pests in your fields and orchards. They provide you with information based on University of California research to protect your crops, taking into consideration human safety and the environment. Year-round IPM programs provide tools such as photo identification sheets to identify pests, example monitoring forms to record observations, and for making management decisions, it links to tools such as water tox and the relative toxicity tables to choose pesticides with the least risk of harm, and efficacy and susceptibility tables that help you choose the most effective pesticides to control the pest. The major IPM principles are covered in the year-round IPM programs. Use them and successfully use integrated pest management to protect your crop.